Welcome back. Welcome back to Still Single. We are your hosts, Rob Moore, Jordan Kahana, and Alex Weber. We're three men in our mid-30s. Would you say that? Mid? We're still mid. And that's good. I'm in a mood today, so I'll just put that out there right
Give a
now.
few words for that mood. Or describe that mood as a time of day.
Like, what time of day is my
Or
mood?
a food. How about a food? That's better. Describe your mood as a food.
My mood feels like cold SpaghettiOs. If my mood is like, it's like a droopy, it's just like a sad bowl of soup.
Is that with all the rain that's happening in LA? Do you think
The rain is gone. It's just
it
me.
is.
It's raining in my heart. I don't know.
Oof. Oh no.
Yeah.
Dude, that was poetic, man. Put that on a Drake album.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this turns it around for you. I want to congratulate you for winning the first ever Still Single movie draft.
Thank you.
The results are in. Really, really happy for you in a competitive, like, I hate you way. But
I had the best team.
You did.
You know,
we ended. I looked at it. Rethinking draft order and certain stuff. I did actually watch Sleepless in Seattle this past weekend.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I would not classify it as a rom-com.
Okay, fair.
Minimal comedy moments in there, as well as
less com, more rom.
Yes,
definitely agree.
And them going off into the sunset after only meeting like once, and she's kind of like, she's a little stalkerish.
Sure, she is a little stalkerish, but she falls in love with him over the radio and his story and his vulnerability. It's
totally
pretty hot.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't know who this person. Like, he is just based off of that 10-second seeing her at the airport, and this kid just believing in her story that way. And then,
but granted, Meg Ryan is like a total catch, and she's gorgeous. So it's like, you see her, it's love at first sight. I mean, it plays into the tropes of love at first sight for Tom Hanks's character.
For sure. And maybe unpopular opinion, I don't see the Meg Ryan appeal.
Ooh,
wow.
Interesting.
But that's for another podcast. But we did get some. I just don't see it. It's not me. It's not my type. You know my type. Like, that's not
true.
She doesn't.
What
fit
if it
that.
was like Megita Ryan?
Maria Ryan.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
That would work. But we did get some great feedback, some people suggesting other categories. So we'll definitely have to do another draft in the future. I'm glad people like that. Got a lot of really good feedback. And once again, congrats, Rob. And we'll be coming for that title down the road.
Thank you so much. And thank you again, Jordan, for the idea. It was a great idea.
Great idea.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So today we're going to actually start things off a little bit differently, where we usually answer questions at the end of the episode, but we wanted to just kick off with a question from one of our listeners that I believe Jordan has ready for us.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
This is from Christy Marie, and she's I don't know where she's coming from. I was going to say where she was coming from, but I don't actually know. It is, I've got a question for y'all. Why do some guys take offense if you ask them out? It almost seemed as if he was caught off guard, like, quote, "This isn't how it's supposed to happen. Is it really that bad? Question mark. I've only done it once. I'm usually the one to turn down offers on dates because I'm just at a place I know what I want, and if I don't see it in that person, it's pointless. I'm not going to date around. I debated the apps, but it's just not my thing. I'm deep, and I feel like that is based on looks." I think she's referring to the apps. It's just based on looks. I watch people and their demeanors. Anyway, I was turned down on my only time asking someone out, and it wasn't a no thank you. It was, I don't think I feel the same, but I'd still love to hang out. What does that even mean? I'm cool enough to be friends with, but not dateable. LOL. Just wondering if it's a bad thing that I'm okay with being straightforward with being interested in someone or not. Also, All I said was, "Hey, I've enjoyed hanging out and I'm interested. If you are, I'd love to hang out sometime and get to know you better. If not, no worries."
Yeah, I mean, Chrissy, thank you for sending that in. And I had kind of a not a moment similar, but like I reached out to somebody on Instagram not too long ago and was like, "Oh my gosh, so great seeing you. Like, would love to take you on like a like grab a drink or like go on like a beach walk." And her response was like, "That's so sweet." And I didn't want to hear that. Let's be honest. Like that was not the
Right.
answer that I wanted. And then it never happened. But I think Chrissy, like you're shooting your shot. I don't understand why the guy got upset. My gut reaction is like he just might not be interested. And so he's deflecting a little bit and just like being like, no, that's not how it works, or it shouldn't go that way. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, I think also I'm curious what you followed up with to the girl who said that's so sweet. Did she just say that's so sweet?
She said
Period.
that's so sweet and like would love to, but then she was busy. And
But we've
then I
talked
was
about
like,
this.
oh,
Yeah, you got
yeah.
to
And then I
follow
was
up with
like,
that.
then I was like, what about these days? And now we're still, I don't know. See,
Okay.
Chrissy, I feel deflected all the time. Like, I think it's a normal response to just like dating in general. It's very hard. It's very unclear sometimes.
I mean, I guess what comes up, I think Rob said it. I mean, I think, Jordan says that all the time I think you say this all the time, Jordan, of, if, what is it? If you're confused, then you know the answer, something along
Right.
those lines. Like if you,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and I think that's true. I'll take it in another direction. It was like, listen, I think, yes, a man can definitely come up and ask out a woman. And I think we've all done that many times. I will say also to Rob's point, with what is it? Aim big, miss big. You do have to be prepared that asking out someone is not an easy thing. And part of that is that they say no and that it hurts. And that hurts whether it's the first time or the thousandth time. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the boldness of asking someone out. I don't think you were like emasculating him. I think every
Mm-mm.
man has his own bar of where that line is. Maybe if you opened up the door for him, paid for him, carried him into the restaurant. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's his line. I have no idea. It doesn't sound like you did that.
Squeezed his tiny little biceps and went, ooh, those are small.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Slapped his ass as he bent over to pick up
Yeah.
his keys or something.
yeah, yeah. And then I think just clarity. You said someone said that they wanted to keep hanging out. I don't know if that means, hey, let's go to a farmer's market, or if that means, hey, I'm going to text you at 2 a.m. So I think just clarity and also making sure that that clarity is what you want. And if you don't, you know, let that person go.
Yeah, there's a couple things, but one for me that I want to point out, and one of the glaring ones is the ending with, "But no worries if not." No, let's be
Mm-hmm.
worried. Let's like don't give this
Mm,
there's an understanding of like there's an out. Like you, I think saying that is um it's almost like, "Hey, let me throw this grenade," but like there's protection in case you don't
sure.
want to get hit by it or anything along those lines. And so giving that, like, "Hey, I'm putting myself out there, but also I'm breezy, so if you say
Mm,
no, it's not a big deal," or anything along
Right.
those lines. And so just kind of say it a little bit more with your chest, be own
mm,
it on that side of things. And I think once again too, if someone feels emasculated, and I don't want to even go that extreme in the sense that if someone's like, "Hey, this isn't how it's supposed to go," then that's not your person. That they're like, "Hey, this attractive person is reaching out and putting themselves out there," like, yeah, that sounds great. And I think she's getting to experience a little bit how our society is set up, where a guy is supposed to ask a girl out, and the amount of rejection that we often deal with, or what brings
Yeah.
in this, like, that concern of like, okay, you just kind of have to shoot your shot. I do like, what is it? Shoot big, aim big. What was that line?
there's an aim
Shoot big,
small,
you
miss
miss big.
small, aim big, miss big. I think it's from The Patriot.
With Mel Gibson?
Heath
Maybe
Ledger.
Heath
Is
Ledger's
Heath
in that
Ledger
movie
in The
too.
Patriot?
He
Yeah.
is.
Wow,
Hmm.
I gotta watch that movie.
And Mel Gibson's in that. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm not the biggest Mel Gibson fan, but
I
I'm
was waiting
also
for that.
Second that.
I'm also a big Braveheart fan. Like, I can't hate on Braveheart. I don't like Mel, but Braveheart is great.
You can disassociate with that.
The artist and the human being.
You know, well, Mel doesn't like me. Let's be honest,
Bro. I get it. I mean, there's a lot of examples of this. Michael Jackson, Michael Vick. It's Tiger Woods. Not with
Wait,
with who-ish people. I'm just saying with doing something that is
is
in
not
personal life,
like the person, right?
versus it's an interesting thing.
I've never even heard of whoish people.
I don't know. I was just trying to make Joe sound funny, but I don't know. Don't
it's
clip
like
that.
I haven't done a thing. I just said,
yeah. It's like a
don't
mix of
Mel
like
Gibson.
Whoville people and Jewish people.
Right.
Whoish.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Christy, for sending in that question. We really appreciate it. And it, something I've been thinking about and I've shared with Jordan and Alex is like kind of, how in a relationship that might not be serving you, how do you like get out of that relationship? And that's something that we want to talk about on today's episode. It actually I started thinking about it when we had the intimacy therapist on, Jess, because she had mentioned that she was in like a long kind of toxic relationship, and then it took like a year and a half for her to just kind of have the strength to like get out of that relationship. And whether you're dealing with like a 7-year, narcissistic relationship and it's really bad, or 30-year marriage that's bad, or even just a 3-month, 3-week just dating situationship, there are challenges in identifying if it's actually serving you, the relationship, and then really committing to staying in it or not. So we want to explore that today. And I've definitely been in situationships. I've been in relationships where I'm like, is this right? Is this something that I want to be in?
And so a situationship is pre-clarity. Is that right?
I think a situationship is like you're like, I want to be your boyfriend, like that conversation.
So situationship is just you spend time together. You're not quite sure what it is.
Right. And there's maybe monogamy, maybe there's not monogamy, maybe it's unclear. Jordan, are you agreeing or disagreeing about a situationship?
To be honest, I missed the first half because I was listening to another question that was sent to us.
As a voice note question?
Yeah.
You want to read it or listen to it? Pop it on.
But Rob, you responded to it via voice note.
Did I?
It's from Sarah King.
I love sending voice notes. I think voice notes are just so intimate. And
she's Holistic Mama.
Sure. Sounds.
I just wasn't sure. I wanted to listen to it while I was going through on that. I don't mean it to derail us. I've definitely experienced a handful of situationships. So,
well, then Jordan, if you don't mind, can you define your take on a situationship? And then I think it would be helpful if the three of us kind of went in through past relationships and obviously keep them vague and anonymous, but like just moments of when you go, wait, is this serving me? Is this what I want to continue, and what those feelings bring up? Because I think a lot of our listeners are probably feeling that way at some point.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different levels of situationships. I feel like I see on TikTok and social media people being like, we've been together for 7 months or even like a year talking to this guy and he just won't commit, and it's a situationship. And it's like, all right, I mean, after a certain point in time, you kind of have to DTR a little bit. There has to be a little foundation and stability around that. Otherwise, I think it just kind of ends up being like a fuck buddy, or, if that's just like kind of the communication that you have with that. So to me, a little bit of some wiggle room of where a situationship is those first few months before you DTR, where it is like, hey, we're dating, things are getting really good, we're hanging out kind of more on a regular basis, but it's still a little maybe early. Once again, I'm never I shouldn't say never. I'm not the greatest when it comes to knowing when to, at what window of time to DTR. And once again, DTR is to define the relationship and be like, hey, we are boyfriend and girlfriend. This
Or
is
like, I would like to be your boyfriend. Like,
yeah, this is exclusive. This is however this kind of goes. Or, hey, we're both in the same space of it being casual. And, just I think, sometimes fuck buddies are a situationship, but there is that at least understanding around that. So there's definitely different levels that come with it and how people handle it. And if you're like upset about not hearing from them or going out and doing certain things, if your feelings are attached to it and they're unaware of your feelings or not honoring your feelings and making you feel like there's ways to understand that. When I was going through my very negative mental health phase at the end of January and all that, I was on Twitter so much, and I was realizing that this is so toxic. This is one of the things that is just like it's a crutch for me because it allows me to like get out of my head a little bit. But the information that I'm consuming on here is toxic, and so needing to remove that and remove it from my homepage or remove it from my phone and doing that, it takes some time because usually you hear people be in relationships that it probably should have ended like 3 to 6 months earlier than it ended up
but just
doing.
going into this, like, probably should have ended question or probably should have ended feeling, like you sent the article earlier today about the differences, the single person's really in the middle, and there's actually two spectrums of couples. There's the couple that is really happy to be together, and then there's the couple that's absolutely miserable being together, and they're actually at two different spectrums. Because as a single person, sometimes you feel, oh wait, like I don't have a partner, so I'm less than, or I'm not experiencing life as fully or as joyfully as those who are in a relationship. But the reality is a lot of people are in shitty relationships that they don't want to be in. So identifying those is like, I'm trying to think, like, for my history, I feel like there's been, I haven't really been in like crazy toxic oh, that's not true. My high school relationship was pretty toxic.
What was her
But
first and last name?
Her social security is 583. No, we've since made amends, and I respect her immensely. I think
But
the talks, yeah.
don't you think that there are elements of like codependency or different attachment styles, and it doesn't bode because I agree with you. It's the struggle of seeing my friends in relationships and like being like, man, they are totally in love, like that they are enamored with each other, and I don't know if I have a ton of that in my life with the relationships. Now there's only a couple that I feel like aren't great relationships. And then there's others that it's just like they've made this commitment and they are building a life together and they enjoy each other's company. And then there's others that just like bicker or like it's very codependent or just like, all right, we'll see if that lasts.
Right. And I mean that there's so many different colors to every relationship, and like you can't know what a relationship is like unless you're in that relationship. I just think it's just interesting to kind of think of like, when are those light bulbs that go off and you just go, this is not for me, or this is not, and that knowing this is not for me over weighs more than the justification of saying, no, I want to stay in this and keep working on it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Change is hard. Change is scary when you get into this comfort zone, and it's like misery loves company in the sense that you just get kind of used to it of like, all right, we just fight. That's what we do. And
there's also fear of being alone, fear of not finding somebody better, fear of not, like I definitely
struggle of
struggle
what
with
dating apps are and those kind of times.
like those are all normal human fear of abandonment. I definitely go through that all the time where I'm just like,
something that you mentioned, Rob, though, is true. It's like you don't really know. It's tough to know what is going on with a couple. it's I mean, thinking about this now too. I mean, obviously like the kind of cliche example is, life's not your Instagram. And I think that's true. It's, a couple is not what they post on an Instagram adventure. With
Mhm.
that said, though, I'm also reflecting the other way where I've been around some couples and maybe I've seen them argue or bicker or whatever. And I'm sure I've been that too. And you don't see how they come together through it, or you don't see how they support each other behind the scenes or things like that. And
Mhm.
so I guess I go back to it's so tough to know what's really going on with any individual, anyone, any other couple. In terms of what you said, it's a great question. I think everyone, whether you're getting for a day, a month, a year, or I guess, 5 years and on, I'm sure it maybe doesn't stop. But that question of what did you word it, Rob? Are you in it or
Like,
needing to
is
end
it
it?
is it serving you? Like serving is the relationship serving you? Um,
Well, let's do this. I'm kind of workshopping this. What would be the barometers of like happiness? Obviously comes to mind, right? Like
but
that's a
like
good
I remember
barometer.
being unhappy when I was even with the love of my life. Like I still had moments of unhappiness, and I had even afternoons or days of unhappiness when I was married and in love with Noel. That is just a part of. I remember before we moved to Chicago, I was like, what am I doing? And having this very useless feeling. So I think the relationship, something that I'm growing into is just realizing that your relationship with your significant other isn't like the entire painting. It's not like the entire painting of your emotions and your entire existence. It's just
Mm.
like it can be like one element of it. It's obviously an enormous element.
Yeah, one thing for me is, and I relate it to because it's a very daunting. I just spoke about this earlier today with my therapist of just like looking at a relationship and being like forever. That, like, when you look at someone, you're like, can I do this forever? And when when I have to bring myself back to reality, I think of the dogs, like my two dogs, where it's
Mhm.
um I go day by day with it. I can't think of, hey, this is forever. This is a commitment. This is however long this is going to be. Because there are some days that they eat the plants, and I'm really annoyed at them. And that, like, but so I don't love them less. I'm still angry at them, and finding that in relationships of just being like, I'm here to show. Granted, it's a bit more of a one-sided relationship. They depend on me way more than I depend on them, but at the same time, I'm very emotionally attached to them. But I show up every single day, and it makes me think about different memes or graphics that I see about, even going to the gym of what it takes. Like some days you're going to lift heavy weights and they're not going to feel heavy and you're going to feel awesome. And then there's other days where you're like, man, I just don't have it today. I'm not motivated. I can't do it. But just the consistency of showing up every single day. And yeah, like it makes me, I'll just kind of end it there. I know I'm rambling and I want to hear from you guys a bit more
Oh.
about, I'm curious to hear, going back to my segment of like, do you have people in your life that are in relationships that you admire and others that you're not like that you're like, I definitely don't want that,
Definitely.
but without
For
like
both.
calling them out
Definitely.
or like,
For
I
both,
mean, I
definitely.
I I have for both. But lately I've almost been observing like some of my closest friends and their wives. I've almost been observing them with some jealousy, and that's on me. Like that's totally mine. But I'm just like, man, they got like my best friends have like a wife, kids or a kid on the way, and I'm just like, fuck, I want that. I had that, and it's gone, and it's my own struggle, and I'm dealing with it and figuring it out. But just to speak to what you're actually talking about, which is like dysfunctional relationships and being like, ooh, I don't want to touch that one. Like I don't want to be in that. Like, yes, I see those, and usually the the string that in all of those relationships that I've found to be dysfunctional, I've observed from afar, what is lacking in that relationship is a sense of mutual respect.
Mm.
And there's this sense of one party is better than the other, and watching that unfold, whether that be through fighting or name calling or, being disloyal and cheating, it's this like level of disrespect. And that's when I see a relationship where there's like not this respect and this mutual respect for both individuals, that's when I'm like, oh, I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I remember I read a book. I think I was in like high school or college. I didn't read many books, but this was like over a summer one time, and it was like a side chapter. And they were like the number one thing, the number one destroyer of a relationship. They surveyed all these therapists and relationship counselors, all this, and they said the number one thing is contempt. And that always stuck with me. And it's along the same lines of what you're saying, because if one person is above the other person or things like that, but contempt that stuck with me so much, because there's big contempt where you're really angry, you're really mad, but there's little contempt, like where
is contempt, is that like resentment?
Yeah, resentment. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly. And like there's little things like eye rolling, is a sign of resentment and contempt. And like that's like a small one, but that's like that's a deep feeling within people. So yeah, I think that is definitely something to be avoided or dealt with if you are feeling resentment or contempt towards each other.
It's interesting because I'm just thinking of like the ick, and we've talked about the ick before on the show, and is the ick almost like an introduction to resentment, or is resentment a bigger?
I think ick is more fleeting, only as someone who's experienced the ick. And then Samantha had an ick around me for a little bit of like me being a little dirty in her kitchen. And I don't think, let me use that example to go further and see if this is accurate or not. I think ick was that occurring for a couple days.
Right.
Or a week, maybe, depending on how sticky my hands were. I think resentment would have been if she brought it up to me and I disregarded that it meant something to her, or if she brought it up to me and I was like, hey, like I'm doing my best here, I'm trying my best to be clean, and she didn't respect that. I think either one of us would have had a growing resentment versus a temporary ick.
Got it.
I think. I don't know. I'm workshopping this.
No. I think that makes sense. I think because the ick, it is fleeting. It's something you can get over. I haven't been in a very serious relationship in a while. So
besides the engagement and marriage.
No. I'm saying since my ex. I'm sorry. That was dude, that ended like almost a year and a half ago.
I know Jordan's mad. How can we not? We joke. We play here. We joke.
No, it was totally fair. I think that was totally fair and hilarious.
Right. Granted, it got to its extremes, but it has been a while. And I was actually, while you're doing that, looking. There's a guy. You guys are talking about the ex. There's a guy on TikTok that stitches that, because another guy goes around the street and is like, hey, what's an ick for guys? And these girls say it, and he creates this list, and it's all these things that are just so basic of stuff, like not basic in the negative way of just is like a guy wanting to say a guy who says he wants to build an empire with his like queen, or referring,
That's
like
an ick.
Yes. And like wanting to, or like crying, a guy who doesn't cry, a guy who doesn't have girlfriends, a guy who does have girlfriends, a guy who like, it's like this list of just literally basic things that we are creating this toxicity around, like perfection in such a weird way of almost there's no true way to navigate it. And it's just very, comical and all that kind of stuff. But going off of Rob's point, like, yeah, I think it's been a while for me as well. Not, I think it has been a while for me of being in a relationship and knowing what that is like, and taking those steps and being, finding yourself in that space, right? Is that what you're like questioning right now, or like wanting to feel again, or?
I mean, I just, what am I questioning right now? I'm questioning a lot. I think I'm just, I desire a partner. Like I literally had a didn't call my mom, but I was like, I just wanted to call my mom and just be like, Mom, I really want somebody to take care of me. And like I just miss I want that. So that's just where I'm at in terms of.
Okay. To our team member Alexis, can we please put that on the internet with an application form? Who wants to take care of Big Bobby here? Come on. Look at this guy.
It's not, but then, the voice goes, Rob, you got to learn how to take care of yourself and also your daughter. And you got to figure this shit out, dude, before you bring somebody into your orbit.
Well, I have a question. What does take care of you mean? Because I'm exploring that too. Yeah.
No. It's a good question. I think, just to have somebody to like bounce, like to share existence with, to literally just be like, yo, I'm having a shitty day, or, oh my God, I can't believe Leia was able to do that. That was so exciting. Or I just got this job opportunity. It's so exciting. You want to get fucking sushi tonight? Like, just a person to share existence with, like that is a form of taking care. And I think that's the duality of where I'm at right now is I'm very much being like, Rob, just you be good single, be good on your own, and but also simultaneously yearning for partnership.
We have to live in the trenches before we can, for a poor analogy of that, to reach the mountaintop or
Agreed.
But I would question, and this is something that I always like point out and look at myself on is, thank you, Zeus. Are you practicing how you want to play? Like, are you approaching dating or finding a partner? Like, where is that in your priority list, and how are you approaching these connection points? And it's once again easier said than done, and finding someone to be this partner is very difficult. I get that.
No, I mean, you play how you practice, kind of thing. And I think the transition that's happening in me is just an awareness of like, okay, maybe I am ready to be in a committed relationship. Like, maybe I'm getting closer to that than I want. There is an internal struggle though of being like, no, man, like you got to be good on your own, kind of thing. And then you get kind of tired of that.
So what is the metric of how do you decide if you're good enough on your own?
Well, I am good enough on my own. I'm on my own, and I am doing it actively, whether it feels good some days or not.
Yeah, I wanted to acknowledge that. Like, you keep saying that as though you're not.
Yeah, like I am doing good on my own, and crushing work and fatherhood and all that good stuff. So I think it's now just at a point where it's just like, okay, like maybe next level would be nice. Take it to that next level, you know what I mean?
Raya? What about eHarms? What about eHarms?
You want me to get?
Is anyone on eHarmony?
Some people are on eHarmony. I don't think the one is going to be on eHarms.
Why?
Because like it's for like the older people.
Like late 30s?
Yeah, like late 30s. I'm in my mid 30s, motherfucker.
We would have had some fun on Grouper, huh?
Grouper Swooper.
The Grouper Swooper.
That would have been good stuff.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think there is necessarily like one answer. But that's all me. Usually of course I made the episode about myself. I tend to do that.
That's all right. No, we needed that today. Every now and then we need that. We internalize a little bit. This can be a therapy session for us and our audience, and getting to know us a bit more, I think, is important. And this is where you're at today. You were feeling this way of being in a sticky situationship and how to get out and what that feels like. And we've all been in those experiences in the past, however their extremities are, of just kind of knowing, even if it's like positive, I was in a situationship that was going on, and we both kind of agreed. She kind of got to the point where she said to me, "Hey, I'm looking for something serious, and this isn't going in that serious direction." And I was like, "Okay, I respect that. I should probably be doing the same." This is like deflecting, and when you remove, when you put your attention towards someone, you are turning away the universe of giving other opportunities for people that are seeking what you're seeking, or to fill that space.
True.
That's so true. The clearing the space for things is so true.
Yeah, and so just acknowledging that, and I think like whether it's manifestation or just the universe or whatever you believe in those energies of like when you say you want something and when you are at peace with yourself about it, it'll present itself. But I think that also goes into playing how you practice. So if you are very casual, if you are very just dismissive, or you're not open to that energy, you won't, when that great thing comes by, you won't be receptive to it.
Right. Oh, I love you guys.
I'm having some voice stuff.
You.
Like, I feel like I was caught off guard for that question. I took a big sip of my smoothie and I was like talking all weird.
You sound and look great.
As always. And look.
I got a haircut this weekend. I was growing out my hair for like 4 months and was just like, it started to like be like mullety. And I kept looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, I kind of like it, and then also didn't like it. And so,
how do you like it shorter?
It's my normal cut. I did go a little like,
yeah, you got like a fade.
Well, so what happened is I cut it and I screwed up, and so I had to go to a barber, and I was like, hey man, so I tried to cut my own hair, and I've done it before, but it was just tough because it was way more hair than I'm used to of just like a light trim. And the disappointment in his face when he's like, man, I thought you lost a bet or something, or you're coming in. And so he's like, so what I can do is do like a skin fade and do this. This is what I have to do. And so it's a little shorter of a fade that I'm used to, but that's okay. I'm trying to maintain my youth as my birthday's coming
youthful.
Up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
When's your birthday? Yeah. How far?
The 13th.
Oh, dude, we can't wait.
Wait, in 5 days?
Yeah. Pisces, baby.
Oh, a little spicy Pisces.
Yeah.
My little spicy Pisces.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the nickname. We're not gonna use it, but that's the nickname, bro.
That's it. Spicy Pisces. It's too good.
Oh, man.
It's too good.
Hey everybody, wish Jordan a happy birthday on the 13th.
We will. We obviously will.
Oh man. Gosh,
I feel like we haven't
fast.
caught up in a while, just like the three of us. Like,
I know.
It just feels that way.
We're gonna have an Austin hangout, maybe.
Yeah. Because the last episode we did the draft, which was super fun. And then 2 episodes before that were interviews. So it's been like a month since we just talked. Spicy Boys USA.
Yeah. Alex, what's on your travel schedule coming up?
I'm going to New Orleans this weekend.
Sick.
For Samantha's family's wedding. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa right now, and then back to Austin. I'm liking Austin a lot more. I've started doing stand up there, which has really been just a great thing to have that back in my life. And also realizing that I'm so grateful for it to be in my life, but I'm really grateful for the path and what I'm doing. So there's just like some clarity moments too of, because I did stand up for like 5 years as the number one thing, and I freaking love what it is. But there was just good moments of like feeling, like on the right path. I'm still in the friend market in Austin. I might join a lacrosse team there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, guys. I'm doing good. I'm trying to not. I feel like we're all kind of circling back to this place of like one day at a time a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just the answer, because there's just no need to, whether it's, Jordan, you're talking about your dogs, or Rob and I are talking about, sobriety and all that stuff. It's just it's so good to have ideas about the future. It is. Of course it is. And a vision and all that, but also just to live one day at a time. That's all I got, man.
I mean, the word surrender, like we've said it before, and I try to remind myself to surrender, but then there's just like I don't know. And I know that not everybody feels the heaviness that sometimes I feel. Like it's not a universal heaviness.
You're very
Um,
sensitive.
yeah, I'm a sensitive beast. Is sensitive the
I,
right
I
word or just like emotional?
what did we decide? I know that I feel like I
I
ended
thought
up being the
Jordan was
most,
the
I'm the most
sensitive.
sensitive
Okay.
for sure. But I think you're the most emotional,
Vulnerable, I think was the word.
vulnerable. Yeah, someone else called me out this past weekend that I'm very
Said you were
sensitive.
sensitive.
hmm
In what way?
We were talking about something about like childhood, and I was like, yeah, I got bullied for this or whatever, and it's just it stuck with me for a really long time, um and was just like, yeah, you're usually sensitive to those things. They just like caught a pattern, and so I acknowledge that. Just be nice to me. I just want to be nice to you.
I know. I know. It is just so funny. Like we just all have our thing.
Yeah.
It's just the truth. And our thing is totally fine. It's human. It's part of us. But it came from somewhere when we were like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or all the way up to like 13 or 14. And it's just part of us. It's just nuts when you realize it, whatever your
Yeah.
unique thing is that we just still have in us.
I think back to like chubby little Robbie, 7, 8 years old, just desiring so much the attention from girls, just wanting girls to be like think I was cool
Mm-hmm. That
Semi,
early.
yeah.
that early, from second grade on, third grade, really getting my feelings hurt and really having this awareness that girls didn't like me. And then all of that changed in fifth grade.
Yeah.
What happened in fifth grade?
I
I,
moved. I
I don't
moved from
remember you
this.
having an issue in high school. That was
I
definitely not an issue for you then.
I moved. I got some new friends. I gained confidence, and there was just like a perception change. And also I grew many inches, which always helps.
6'4".
6'3", but thank you. You always give me that extra inch, and I just like can't say no to it. But thank you.
I'm sure with shoes, right? Can't. Well, have you ever? Whoa, that was really. Have you
Yeah.
ever? Is this my headphones?
Or
I'm
is
like really
6'3" with
conscious about
shoes, and has
this.
this whole thing been a lie?
No, it's good question. No.
Mhm.
It's 6'3" barefoot.
Aka,
Mhm.
Verify it.
aka.
Verify it. No, but going back to what you said, Webb's like, yeah, it's these childhood traumas and insecurities that just like they
Totally.
stick with you, like
Yeah,
100%.
it's crazy how impactful just like a comment. It could be such a throwaway
So
comment too
true.
from certain people, but how impactful that is.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I'm at
and how
a
impressionable they are.
well, so awareness is, I mean, I think I don't know. I don't have the qualifications to tell you the order of this, but I think awareness and then repeated action, you know, are good methodologies, at least, to try to get to heal these things. There's probably bigger ways, whether that's like trauma release or whatever. But I think we're all in the awareness and trying our best to do these better. And I'm having slip ups on the journey. But I feel like I'm having more wins than losses. And
Right.
that is super encouraging. Yeah, no, truly.
Snaps
The
that.
losses suck because it just feels very defeating and humbling and like a little shame and embarrassment, of just kind of feeling like, oh, I feel like I just like regressed. But I am trying to return to like, well, I'm not giving up. I have more wins than losses and just keep having the wins. Um, yeah, I
It's
think that's
also
something like that.
amazing, like the wins that we have, because I definitely, if I can zoom out, I can be like, yeah, dude, like you are winning, you're still winning. Like there are some losses, sure, there's heartaches and hard parts, but like you are still winning. And it's funny because when at least for me, when I'm in this kind of like spirally depression, whatever, those wins that I have
Right.
just become so small.
Mm,
And the losses, whatever they are, become so big.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like I'm purposely doing it. It's just like how my brain looks at myself.
I think that's the majority of people. Like you remember your losses a bit more, but that's how you learn and grow from it. Because for me too, like I said, I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues at the beginning of the year and feeling like I wasn't doing anything or completing things, or I always struggled to give myself just little wins and little foundational stuff along the way. And that's so important. And once I like took a step back, or someone was like, "Hey, what have you been up to? Where have you been going?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I went to Tahoe and I had some friends come in, and I went to Moab, and then I went to Miami, and then like I'm going to Europe in 2 months." And I'm like, okay, I need to chill out. Like things are good.
Your life is
like
pretty sick.
we're fine. Like like it's, you had a bad couple days or a couple weeks, like that, like once again, you have to go in the trenches to appreciate the good but yeah, it sucks. I wish I could appreciate the wins or acknowledge the wins more than I'm so focused on the losses or the lack of perfection that I want or perceive that other, like the way that social media is, where everyone's life is so perfect, or people are like,
such a mind fuck.
yeah, I felt like there was such a stretch of time where everyone that I like followed on Twitter or LinkedIn was just announcing like a promotion here, a promotion there, and moving to this new job and doing this. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, like just feeling as I'm in a down period, and that just happens, and, momentum's shifts. So,
I mean, I can relate so much to that social, like, I think my mental health is actually struggling or suffering right now because my use of Instagram and TikTok has gone up, and Twitter now, which is just a shitstorm. So anyways, but I wanted to go this idea of like base hits, wins, these wins, and I wanted to apply it to like a couple, because if you're in a couple, if you're in a relationship and like overall you're winning, like there's still some losses, but like overall as a couple you are winning, then it's a good team to be on. Like it's a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's almost, sorry, go ahead.
No, I love that. I mean, winning team. I mean, that's exactly what we want to be, and that doesn't mean undefeated, right? Yeah.
So like even with these, I mean, I've seen relationships, just like we've said, that you're like, man, why are they even together? But in reality, there's some wins that are going on, and ultimately in a relationship or situationship or whatever, when it starts being like, is this, are we net negative? That's when you got to reassess and plan an exit.
love that. Great way to end on that.
Guys, good app. Good app. Do we feel good?
I feel so much better. Thank you guys so much.
Really? That's great.
You needed that.
Well, as always, we love you guys.
Do you think we have a name, a title for it for the episode? Yeah, because we've used the situationship before.
The win.
Ooh.
The winning team.
Ooh,
that's good. Hashtag branding.
Yeah. Okay.
This guy runs a creative marketing agency. Yeah. Friends and listeners, please send us in your questions. We really appreciate you guys being vulnerable with us, and we will always try to be vulnerable with you back, and honest and open. And again, thank you for being a part of this Still Single community. We love you.
Love you all. Hey, quick ending. Rob, describe your mood now as a food.
Oh, now I'm like a banana chocolate protein smoothie.
Look at that growth.
Like it's packed with calories.
That's
and
what I'm.
with
Yeah,
protein.
literally, that's what I'm drinking with right now. Yeah,
it looks so good, but
Thank
it's
you.
still healthy and I feel sustained.
I put I put some coffee in there. I put some home. I'm gonna have to cut dairy out of my diet lately. I need to see what's going on. I think it's messing with my skin, but that's a whole other conversation. So I had some milk in there, some coffee, some ice cubes, a banana, a half avocado, a packet of oatmeal, maple
all in that
oatmeal.
smoothie.
I
Protein
put
powder? Any protein?
chocolate protein powder,
Sexy. Nice.
and I put in one of those Nature Valley like oat bars as well.
just
So
cause
Just
yeah,
everything.
there's like 1,500 calories in this, and it's
small
great.
rodent.
And it's a little thick. I like thick, but
Yeah, the oat bars and oatmeal will do that.
yeah, it's the avocado I think that really thickens it up.
Maybe.
But we like it thick.
We do like it thick. Well, we love you guys. We'll be back next week.
Love you all.